How about this? Underdog NBA. Just got a text from my producer over at NBC, Jonathan Sackey.
What's Sackey up to?
And I'm actually going to quote tweet Underdog NBA because they didn't give us credit for this. But Coach Kerr said he's still deciding if Jonathan Kuminga will start when he's cleared to play. It's up in the air. We've won 4 in a row starting Trace Jackson Davis. Generally in the past, the way I've handled things, if our team is playing well, I generally stay with the same group. So,
I mean, I read that as he's going to not start Kuminga.
Well, here's the cut, and I got some thoughts on that as Steve Kerr joined us earlier today on the Morning Roast.
I've got to make a decision whether he starts or not. It's up in the air. We're going to meet as a staff. I mean, we've won 4 in a row starting Trace with Draymond on the front line. Mm-hmm. And that's, generally in the past when the way I've handled things, if our team is playing well, I generally stay with the same group. But that also disrupts the bench rotation. It changes things there. And Moses is playing really well. Gary Payton's playing well. So there's a lot to consider with that question. But regardless, we want him back. I mean, we need J.K.
So they need J.K. And whether he comes, like I told you this yesterday, Shesky, I don't care who starts. I don't really care. I'm exhausted from this whole thing. Yeah, but I do. Your mic's off.
It does feel like Kuminga cares.
Well, I was just going to get to that. The mentals of Jonathan Kuminga in his 3rd year, he's been playing so well. He's averaging nearly 20 points per game in the month of March. And since January 5th, when Steve Kerr and J.K. had that sit-down, he's played lights out, and he started. And he's seeing heavy minutes. Now, if he does come off the bench, I still anticipate him getting minutes. But Kuminga not starting, what does it do to him knowing that, hey, I was playing well? Because Wiggins came back after missing 3 games, and he went to the starting lineup. Now, he wasn't playing heavy minutes, but he started after missing 3 games. Now, Kuminga just missed a 4. And let's be real. You beat Charlotte. You beat San Antonio. You beat Miami. Orlando. There's not. I mean, the Orlando win is a good win. Because Draymond Green got ejected and J.K. didn't play, I'm going to say that was a good win. That was a really good win, especially after watching Orlando yesterday beat up on the Pelicans. But for Kuminga to miss basically 4 games, and now what is he going to do? If he makes a mistake, will he look over his shoulder? Now you got Moses Moody playing well. You have GP2. Now he's a game-time decision. Maybe that makes Steve's decision easier, but it's just another little wrinkle for the Warriors this season when it comes to the lineup. And look, I'm not going to lie. When Steve Kerr said Draymond likes having that shot blocker next to him, he does play well with another big alongside of him. And you think about the wear and tear with Draymond Green as a small ball 5, it's just another fascinating wrinkle to this season for the Golden State Warriors and how J.K. responds to possibly not starting.
I mean, I kind of know where this is going. Don't you?
Where's it going?
It's going with J.K. getting the short end of the stick. I mean, that he got hurt. And the train is moving, and he's trying to run back onto the train, and he's going to start at the caboose, and he's going to have to work his way back.
Yeah.
And the way that this season's going, we don't really have time to worry about J.K. Like right now, this is a must-win game tonight. So if J.K. doesn't perform off the bench, then yeah, he's going to get his moments tapered down. And then I've got a bunch of other games. If I win tonight, I've got some games, or I got a little leeway to mess around. I could lose the game, and it's not going to matter. But like for tonight's game, I don't care about anyone's feelings. It's about winning against the Rockets.
Right. I'm with you there. But obviously there's a lot of people who do care about who starts and who finishes and rotations. So I'll throw out the number before we sign off, 888-957-9570. Does it matter to you if J.K. starts or not? Because, again, it sounds like, look, if he's ready to go and he's feeling good and he's practicing and he's scrimmaging 5-on-5, it feels like it matters to a young Jonathan Kuminga. But if I guarantee Kuminga 30 minutes coming off the bench, does he play better? Does he feel good? I can't get inside of Jonathan Kuminga's head. I don't know how he's thinking, but I expect him to be a professional whatever happens. Whether you start or bench, you got to be a pro. It's about the betterment of the team.
I think J.K. really does care a lot about starting, and I think he cares even more about closing. I do think those things matter to him. He's when I look at it like my own self. There was a point in time where I was a part-time employee here at the station, and there was a huge part of me that thought that, like, if I miss a shift, if I have some family stuff going on, if I get sick, I'm going to fall behind in the pecking order. Like, I understand that point of view from someone like J.K. He misses time, he's going to feel like he's falling behind on the pecking order. How can you not? Like, how can you not feel that way when everything that you've had going on? And I don't think that it's right, wrong, indifferent. It's just, I'm trying to put myself in his position of how he's psychologically feeling, whether that's fair or not. I just know how I was, whereas like I'm not solidified here. I'm not an everyday part guy, a Monday through Friday, having a locked in spot. And I know that grind is way more mental than people want to give it credit for.
Yeah, I don't.
Of being on the outside looking in.
Well, guys have had to do it. Steph Curry has had to come off the bench. Klay's coming off the bench. Now he's been starting. Papav's starting, bench. Chris Paul, who never came off the bench over the course of his career, has come off the bench. And now you just add another wrinkle here to whether or not J.K. starts or not. And look, you need J.K. I know we're having a conversation. You got to pick Wiggins, J.K. Look, I'm going to keep all these guys. You need two-way players, especially on the perimeter of today's NBA game. Go ahead, Spinoni.
And it does feel like now it's 2 years in a row, kind of around the same time. Wiggins came back last year. Jonathan Kuminga has established. It is a little different because Kuminga has been a much bigger part of this regular season, although he had a great stretch last year. But he has solidified himself now as a 20-point-plus scorer, and you're going to need him in the playoffs, and you're going to need him right mentally, whereas last year you completely kind of shut him out of there.
This is kind of where we're going with this. It's like, and I get where Bonte's saying, like, from a zoomed-out view, I want both guys. We need both guys. But, like, the Draymond conundrum, where he is a really good player, he's very important, but he likes a rim protector. All right, that puts Trace Jackson Davis out there. Like, you start doing process of elimination, and I say to myself, like, if I'm in JK or Wiggins' position, it's easy to say everyone's just going to have to shut up and be professional and just roll with it, but at some point, something has to give. And it feels like we're on this collision course down the line, not right now, but down the line where something will give.
Well, here's what Steve Kerr said about what he likes about Wiggins, TJD, and Draymond in that front line.
Well, number one, I think, they're all playing well at the same time. So when we're putting them together right now, we're getting great ball pressure from Wiggs. We get rim protection from Trace, and it allows Draymond to play a little bit of center field, where he can kind of roam the paint and thwart drivers and force passes back out to the perimeter. And I think there's a psychological component too. Draymond loves having a shot blocker next to him so that he can really kind of patrol and take care of everything that's out there. When he's the center, and he's really good at it, and we play him a lot at the five, he just doesn't have as much help at the rim. And so there are times where I can see him get a little frustrated, and those are the times where we kind of can sense, like, let's get another big in there. Let's help Draymond out a little bit and fortify our defense.
So then Steve Kerr, later on, we asked him whether or not this was the most challenging season. He's having a lot of fun, Steve Kerr mentioned, and he joined us on the Morning Roast earlier this morning. You can find that interview, download the Odyssey app, go to 957thegame.com, YouTube, wherever you get your podcasts. Steve Kerr joined us at 7:30. It was really fun for 25 minutes. I asked him basically, is this the most challenging season in terms of trying to get everybody playing time and figure out the right combinations and figure out the finishing lineup? Here's what the coach had to say.
I would say yes, because as you said, Bonte, we've got a bunch of options, but not always perfect clarity. We've got multiple guys who are capable of finishing games, and if they're all playing well, we've got to make decisions down the stretch. And the other night was a perfect example. We're trying to close that game, and I've got Chris Paul on the bench because we've got a lead, and I'm thinking more defense, and then all of a sudden we turn it over, and it's like, we got to protect the ball here. I race Chris into the game, and then bring Gary back, and and JK wasn't even available that game. So you think about it, we just have it's a good problem to have. I think we've got 10 or 12 guys who are all capable of being in that closing lineup, but you got to pick five, and it's not always easy to select the right five.
See, I get what he's saying. It's a good problem to have because it means you have depth, but the other side of the coin is it's actually a really difficult problem to have. And, I think you'd much rather have your 7 or whatever, and you're oscillating on that 8th, 9th guy, as opposed to you legitimately have like 7 dudes for 3 spots every night.
Yep.
I think it's really hard. And then you're constantly being second guessed, and whatever you roll with, it's like the wrong decision because that guy played bad,
right?
And that guy didn't match up really well with that guy, and I think it's really hard. I think he's in almost a no-win situation the majority of nights because of the optionality.
He did bring up Steph Curry's minutes against Minnesota because we asked him about Steph Curry struggling with his shot. And, we've been spoiled. Steph Curry's post-All-Star break still giving you 22, 4 and 4, but the efficiency has been down. It has been down for Steph, but he talked about, hey, look, man, I just remind him that he's still having an impact, and he still is. But let's get to the lines before we leave these airwaves. Doug in Berkeley, what's happening? Then we'll get to Nick, who's also in Berkeley. What's up, Doug?
Hey, good morning, guys.
Morning.
Good morning. Wet day. Hey, listen, JK, I want to make it clear. I love JK. I love the progress that he's made. He's going to be a great player. He had a stretch when he scored 20 points a game. He's not a 20-point-a-game scorer yet. The last few games that he played, when he took it down the middle, they clogged the middle and stopped him. He fumbled the ball. He's got to figure that out. I agree with Steve Kerr. I wouldn't mess with the lineup that's going right now. Eventually, you got to get JK back in, and his psyche is an issue. But he's also got to learn to play for the team, and he's going to be a great player. He's ascending. He's not a great player yet, okay? And that's, I love him. I don't want to trade him. He's going to be a star, and maybe a superstar. But let's pump the brakes just a little bit. Go with what's rolling right now. Thanks for taking the call.
Well, it's a good call. It's a really good call. I'm just the totality of his career. Has he been a good teammate and a good soldier in the sense of buying into overall? Not
absolutely he has.
It's about JK.
Yes, absolutely he has. Okay, JK's been great. This is a great young man. I know some people try to label. I know JK. I've talked to JK a lot. Had many conversations. Kid's smart, he's articulate.
Why is there this, and I'm not saying that the caller did this, but I do believe there's an odd stigma. We question his psyche. We question his team mentality overall. Is that a media thing?
No, it's because he came out with C.J. Holmes last year during the playoffs. It's because he wasn't happy. When Wiggins went away for 2 months due to personal reasons, J.K. started playing very well. Spanoni just pointed out, he started playing very well. We're like, okay, this guy's a player. This guy's a player. They made the right pick. And then Wiggins came back, and all of a sudden, Kuminga got the short end of the stick in the playoffs. Now, he, against Sacramento was his first playoff game. Malik Monk was roasting him. Doesn't really see any action. And then he talked to C.J. Holmes about being frustrated. That hasn't been the case with the Warriors culture under Steve Kerr. Nobody really complains about lack of playing time. That hasn't happened. It's kind of whoa, what's going on here? Second-year player talking to the media. I didn't think that was great form right there. So people see that as he's a diva. He's trying to bring up the blah, 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 blah. Guy just wants to play. Guy just wants to be great. I have no problem with that. Then you fast forward to this season, and there's a couple reports, right? Doesn't play the last 18 minutes of that Denver game, and he's like, I lost Steve Kerr's trust. They have the meeting. He gets the haircut. All of a sudden, he's playing well. But the guy's a gym rat. The guy wants to be great. The guy loves basketball. The guy loves his teammates. He's learning on the fly. So I don't, people are going to come up with their own conclusions. But knowing JK, he's an absolutely fantastic